A van with the back door open and something slapped on the top of it. The Perfect Season 2.0 banner back there. That's the incredible part. They had McNeil had all these plans in place last year, and it got canceled with the Christmas Eve win. And they came right back this year to chase it, and they did. They completed it at 0-16.
When you set your mind to something, and that is the Cleveland.
Nobody likes a quitter, Lima. Nobody likes a quitter. We suck. There's the 0-16. Is that a float now?
Can we even show some of these?
Is that a garbage truck? That would seem strangely appropriate. I don't think it is.
All right, now a couple things. We were talking about it. There be any luminaries, dignitaries, a who's who. I think a lot of people weren't going to touch this thing with a 10-foot pole, but I will tell you this. There was a rumor floating around the internet this morning that Joe Charbonneau, Super Joe, was going to be showing up at this parade. By the way, another guy who told us he was going to show up at the parade, he was in studio yesterday on 92.3 The Fan, Steve-O, who has a significant following. He's from the Jackass crowd. He's in town this weekend at Hilarities throughout the weekend. He was coming to this parade today. He was very, very pro-parade. And he said, I think the Browns fans are great. I think they are diehard Browns fans who want to put this on, and I want to be with them. And so he's going to be doing this. Is what people wonder what the comedians do when they come into town for a weekend, a cold weekend in Cleveland. They go to parades like this.
We're getting some of your comments here on Facebook. What is it? I'm a stupid season ticket holder. There's another guy.
So far.
There's another guy, season ticket holder. He's there. And so, this is where Haslam and the guy, they got to be careful what they say about these folks. Because they're customers. Mm-hmm. Not all of them are ticket holders. Probably some people that say I'm never buying again till they're good, but there are people here that are season ticket holders. This on Facebook. Joel Farley says no free agent QB wants to go play for the Cleveland Browns. Joel, you make a very good point. I think, for me, Kirk Cousins is the number one thing they need to get in the offseason to prevent this kind of mess that we're looking at here on the screen. And since they decided to bring back Hugh Jackson, I think it was going to make that very difficult. I think to get Kirk Cousins, you needed to put a competent head coach in the room with him, along with John Dorsey, sell the draft picks, the cap space, draft picks which they won't be using on a QB. I thought that would have given him a good chance. Bringing back Hugh, I think, hurts him. Joel, I think you're right. They're going to have a hard time getting a free agent.
It's not easy sell. Hugh Jackson said that in his outgoing press conference on New Year's Day at 8:15, by the way, in the morning. Hugh Jackson said, we're going to have to try to recruit, and we're going to have to sell people on how great Cleveland is. Not going to be easy, but I'm telling you, if Kirk Cousins ends up getting transition tagged, and there's a lot of discussion about that, March 6th, mark that date on your calendars. That's the day where those tenders have to be designated, either franchise or transition. If it is a transition tag, the Browns could make a huge offer. They could, and then the Redskins would not be able to match.
And, of course, they're looking to replace that guy, Bernie Kosar, the last franchise quarterback they've had, depending on how you view Vinny Testaverde. Bring back Kosar. The Kosar signage right there. Now that's a beautiful float for this parade, isn't it? A minivan with a piece of cardboard like duct tape to the side. Somebody falling out the back with another sign. They had 50 to 60 vehicles apply to be a part of this parade. And
I was the MC of the Columbus Day Parade in Little Italy this year. There were about 70 vehicles.
About 70. Well, they're right there. They're only 10 behind. And that one wasn't 40 below. What does this sign say? Maybe never. Cross out the next year. Well, that's not very optimistic.
Yeah, but they'll be there.
Bag on his head. He's in uniform. And a Browns helmet on top. So there we go. We're still celebrating.
We're seeing a lot of the brown bags. Like the Aints, right?
The
like
Aints.
the Saints fans.
And that's been a common theme now for years with bad football teams. I think it may have been the Aints that started it. The preseason champs, there's that reference. How long ago does that feel? Remember those T-shirts?
4-0. We got in brutal debates on the radio about whether or not 4-0 meant something in the preseason.
That should never be discussed again. Ever be discussed.
Well, remember the
again.
Lions in 2008.
They went 4-0.
And what'd they finish with?
0-16. 0-16. Now, if you wonder why, there's a lot more people or a lot more going on than I expected because the weather. Well, you got to remember, in the trucks and cars, you can run a heater. It's the folks that you're looking at right now. Those are the gang. They get hazard pay if you're asking me, and they're not even getting paid.
I'm going to guess you might see an occasional flask out there with some of those fans.
What?
Something to keep them warm. Maybe some whiskey, maybe some bourbon.
I would suggest a series of adult beverages to get through this thing.
All that stuff.
There's a camper, some kind of brown signage up top. Can't read it. I'll tell you what. From what we're seeing here, this looks like a pretty good crowd. This is not, the weather shut it down. This looks like a good group.
Now, a lot of people are asking who is going to be the guy to actually come up with the figure, the actual attendance figure for the parade. Because as you realize, somebody had to come up with it for the Caps championship parade, and that somehow ended up being $1.3 million.
$1.3 million.
Who in the world came up with that? So I wonder who's going to be the definitive voice on attendance.
I think if by default, if we can't figure it out, it goes to like 1.3 thousand, which I understand is not even really a number, or some kind of 4016, which stands for 4016.
All right, well,
we'll go with that. 4016. Yeah, we're just going to call it 4016.
There needs to be some symmetry. What was your prediction? I know that some people thought maybe a couple grand.
That's kind of where I was at. Because of the weather, really. I think they would end the division of whether or not this should be a parade, which I think, we talked about that. If you call it a protest or a march, I think it gets a lot more folks on board with this kind of thing. There's a school bus that's been nice and painted up.
We're obviously getting a ton of reaction, and keep sending your Facebook.
Daisy on Facebook saying how embarrassing, and that's the other side of this. And that's 3 comments above Mag Simmons, who says this is awesome.
In a way, you know what it reminds me of? Do
I hear a marching band?
Why,
I hear a snare drum.
I'm guessing it's certainly not going to be the Browns marching band, which they have.
I was a marching band geek in high school. I could smell a band from a mile away, and I hear a percussion riff, and we show some brass instruments there. That's amazing. There's a sousaphone. We have sousaphones, Lima.
Somebody going to dot the I? Is somebody at some point going to dot the I?
We have sousaphones and tubas and drummers, and this is outstanding.
They could dot the I in futility.
Yep.
You could have had the best damn band in the land come here and do this.
Of course we have. I like the guy carrying a tuba. Like, there's a reason they came up with the sousaphone, so you don't have to march with a tuba. Dude doesn't care. Grabs his tuba. He's going down to the 0-16 parade. Oh, that's good. I'll tell you, it's a good crowd. I said it a few minutes ago. I'll say it again. From what the pictures we're getting here, you cannot say nobody showed up.
And I know a lot of people are asking questions about where in the world they see the police that are helping organize this, or at least that are making sure that everybody behaves themselves. All paid for as part of the fundraising.
Right. They GoFunded me this. They took donations, and excess funds are going to go to the Cleveland Food Bank. I mean, this wasn't something they tried. Look at the sign. They tried. They did. Players tried. Players didn't quit. All the way down to the last game of the season, last drive of the season, DeShone Kizer was running around like a headless chicken trying to get the ball out to a receiver. And, of course, Corey Coleman dropped it, who, of course, was the guy they took in the first round instead of Carson Wentz, because that's the way this ends. What do we got? Anything good here on Facebook with the folks?
So far,
a lot of the Facebook comments are people bickering with each other.
I know what it's become.
They like it or they don't.
What it's become is infighting, and this is the negative, obviously, among many negatives to going 0-16, is that the fan base becomes divided. That happened with Sashi Brown. The fan base was divided about how to build this team, whether or not they were on the right track. Well, eventually he gets fired, and then the fans kind of unite and say, well, then Hugh Jackson has to go. And so all the signs of stability and all of that goes out the window, and fans are left to sit here and destroy each other over the merits of how the team is being built and whether or not it's appropriate to go through something like this, which is what you're seeing right now, live pictures in downtown Cleveland.
I think I just saw a Justin Gilbert jersey.
It wasn't actually Justin Gilbert, who's out of football, by the way.
And another one of those tremendous picks by Ray Farmer.
That was a Ray Farmer. Yeah, we could do this all day long. We could talk about where the genesis of this really began and who is to blame. I know right now a lot of these fans are saying Jimmy Haslam. It all starts and ends with Jimmy Haslam.
It does. It starts with Jimmy Haslam. Before them, the problem was Randy Lerner, who inherited the club from his dad. I did a piece for Cleveland 19 a month or two ago on the top 5 reasons the Browns are where they're at. Not just this year, but historically. And the easy one to say is lack of quarterback and bad drafting, and I get that. But that was actually number 2 on my list. The number 1 thing on my list was the unexpected passing of Al Lerner. Because when he bought the club, they thought Al Lerner was going to be in place for a while. And then,
devastating.
And then it was tragic. He passed away a few years later from cancer, and his son inherited the club. That didn't work out. Jimmy Haslam bought the club. It hasn't worked out. But Al Lerner is the one stable owner this franchise has had, and Jimmy Haslam has not been able to get it back to that point. And that's where everything took a sharp decline with the Cleveland Browns.
And, by the way, what'd they do in year 4 of the Lerner tenure? They made the playoffs. I mean, people forget the 2002 thing. They made the postseason.
That was in this day in Browns history yesterday was their one playoff game.
Kelly Holcomb. We remember it well. People are still bottling up that Kelly Holcomb barbecue sauce.
Dennis Northcutt dropped the pass. That's right. Holcomb had Bart.
If you win, folks,
it doesn't take much.
If you win, you're going to be able to have unbelievable branding for years to come.
Tito's got pasta sauce. I think Omar Vizquel is still selling things. All right. There has been talk about this nationwide and worldwide. The BBC has checked in on this with Chris McNeil, the organizer of it. CTV. Chris McNeil has had to take out security for this thing. All right, what is this?
He was
thing?
getting threats, folks. The architect of this entire parade was getting threats.
I'm trying to figure out what's on the top of that van.
Yeah, it looks,
I don't know.
We do have to be very careful to our star-studded cast of photographers out there that are lining the streets. We have to be very careful about some of the imagery that we're going to be seeing because the signs may not be G-related. I did ask McNeil this week. I said, is this something you'd like your kids to attend? And
I'm assuming he said yes.
No.
Are you kidding?
He said the way that this was starting to spiral, he said, I'm a little nervous about fans that might be bringing their children because, A, it's going to be so cold, and, B, he just didn't know what kind of element to expect.
Right. Well, that is a giant garbage truck. All right, let's take a live listen of what's going on down there. We're going to step aside and probably do you all a favor. There is a live look at
we had to go away for 40 seconds. Victor, we were laughing so hard at some of the creativity by the Browns fans.
On Facebook, folks, Facebook folks want to know if that dumpster was on fire. We'll get Victor on that right now. But first, he's got to report the file. What do you got, sir?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not so sure about that dumpster. I have to go look around for it. But, guys, this number has gotten so large. So many people out here to watch this parade again. Found some more pretty interesting fans. We have some clowns here with the sad faces. Why are you guys sad?
Clowns. We're sad clowns. Right. Even the Browns can't make us happy this year. Even a little bit happy. Right. Not like a teeny bit happy. That's hard to do for clowns.
Absolutely. And speaking of clowns, you know, you see the signs that you have right here. It says, Cleveland deserves better than the clowns, and Browns time to stop clowning around. So these guys here, obviously, not too happy with the way the Browns have been performing this season. However, you know, it seems like they're pretty optimistic, or else they wouldn't be out here in the first place. We're also going to go over here to the parade that's going on right now. You see all these cars, they all had to apply to actually be a part of the parade. And as you can see, they're out here really, really enjoying it. We got this guy here. I have no idea what to even call that. But every single car that you see here is going to be different in some type of capacity or some type of way. They're all unique. I even saw a Ghostbusters car that was in line driving through right here through the parade, making their way around the stadium. There's another one down there which says, worst owner in sports, and pilot flying over. So it does seem like these guys aren't too happy with the way things have been going with the Browns. is. But like I said, guys, it's a testament with all of these people out here that shows that they're still in support of this hometown team. Now, you guys know that this is only the second team in NFL history to go 0-16, not undefeated, but I guess just defeated. So we're going to be here and looking around, trying to bring you guys some more of those unique fans, and we'll let you know what they have to say later on. For now, we're getting answers at First Energy Stadium. I'm Victor Williams, Cleveland 19 News.
All right, thank you, Victor. I got to love who's riding in Boss Hogg's car behind Victor there with the horns on the front. That's outstanding.
I got to say, today, I really felt uniquely proud to be a part of such a great broadcasting moment in Cleveland sports history, bringing you this. This really means a lot to us.
Yeah, this coverage is going right to the Broadcast Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah. By CPD, the police department,
right.
Somebody in the chopper, according to social media, has estimated the crowd so far right now, and we're about 20 minutes into the parade, at about 2,000. And I've seen some estimates that are greater than that. So we'll see if people continue to trickle in. And then the question is, what do these people do afterwards? Is it going to be
they drink.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, everyone knows that.
Is there going to be some big bar crawl in Cleveland?
Yes,
or are they going to stay? They're going to hang outside?
No, every bar in downtown Cleveland. It's a Saturday afternoon. People are off. They're in Browns gear. They're extremely disappointed, sometimes angry. It's a mass gathering. People are going to go booze, man. Now, maybe not the ones that brought their kids. Maybe a lot of them left, but somebody is going to, they're going to go have a good time. A few more of the Facebook. A lot of the folks on Facebook right now chiming in with, what a shame, sell the team. Andrew says, sell the Browns, buy a hockey team. And, of course, a series of your requisite dilly-dilly, pit of misery references, because, we need those. We do. School bus, why? Hashtag, what, make the Browns?
Great again?
Oh, make the Browns great again. Yep. That would be like,
I would settle at this point for making the Browns back to our normal horrible Browns team that wins 5 games every year.
Yeah, right.
We'll take that at
it used to be the joke. How many games the Browns going to win? 4 or 5. Put them down for 4 or 5 wins. That was considered terrible. Man, that is a light year better than what they're doing now. I mean, they can't even do what a bad team's supposed to do and go win 3 or 4 games, for crying out loud. Good grief. This is better than this is about what I expected, I guess. I was expecting
There's a few more people than I thought. When I went outside this morning for the first time, I said no chance I would attend this thing in a million years if I were actually trying to make my voice heard, make a statement, put this team on notice, put Jimmy Haslam on notice. I said I wanted nothing to do with anything like this. Well, but the fans there being good sports, I will say they seem to be behaving themselves and trying to find the fun out of this. I know people are saying, well, I thought this wasn't a celebration. Why are they celebrating losing? Well, would you think the people were going to go there and just shake their heads in misery and not say a word? I mean, obviously, they were going to try to support each other and say, look, we understand the absurdity of this. This entire thing, at its core, on its face, is absurd. But we're going to make the most of it.
We just had a car with the inflatable T-Rex, and I am a strong supporter of any event with the inflatable T-Rexes. Somebody had one of those guys conducting the orchestra doing the theme to Jurassic Park. That was all over the interwebs yesterday, and I found it supremely entertaining.
Sashi Brown was so preoccupied with whether he could and not whether he should. And now they went 0-16. Thanks a lot, Sashi. There's your tie-in to Jurassic.
Oh, in life, Browns fans will find a way to still celebrate despite not getting a victory, and you got it here, folks.
You're seeing, by the way, these are all the vehicles. A lot of these vehicles, that's a vehicle that is...
It's a Muni Lot vehicle, right?
It's a Muni Lot. You see some that are at the pit week in and week out. So people wonder, is it just going to be the attention seekers, everybody out there just trying to, get on TV or whatever? These are the people that are season ticket holders for 30-plus years, dating back to Municipal Stadium, maybe even 40 years. So those are the types of people that went all out on this because they felt they were the ones that were most uniquely qualified to be a part of this.
Yeah, that's where, if you're wondering, where did these vehicles come from? Did people really do this for the parade? No, this is what they used to tailgate. They just came down for an extra day, right? Instead of coming down on a Sunday, they came down on a Saturday to complain a lot, and I can't blame them. That looks like a portable bar.
Well, that would be fitting.
I was going to say, that sounds like a tremendous idea for this crowd.
Did the city of Cleveland relax a lot of the alcohol provisions?
I always thought the secret of those involved opaque cups. which is the only time I really ever heard the word opaque used in any kind of a party setting.
It's the point of the Red Solo Cup. It solves all those issues.
Oh, they go away. That's why, too. It wasn't Toby Keith did a song on it?
Yes, he did.
Oh, so more quote-unquote floats. I don't even know what's in the back of that truck there. There's some dude sitting in something.
Well, I knew that one of the things...
Oh, it's a coffin!
There's going to be a hearse, yes.
There's a coffin.
McNeil told us there's going to be a hearse also. Do you remember the house, I think it's on the near west side of Cleveland, that has all the tombstones for every quarterback?
I've heard of it.
And for Halloween every year, they were going to be carrying those tombstones as part of this procession of vehicles that was going to be a part of this parade. So we'll be looking forward to that.
Now, does Kaiser get that? Because he's still around.
Oh, because he's the placeholder?
He's the placeholder. Do we get to keep him on? Oh, that's probably not even worth debating. Probably not even worth debating, but that's where we are, folks. Does the current quarterback get a headstone? He will be the former as soon as they draft him. They're not there yet.
People are amped up. Listen to this.
A lot of Jeep Wranglers I'm seeing.
Well, and they all got to wave to each other.
That's a Jeep thing. I mean,
so I just listen. When you can hear, Mark, these fans start to get noticeably more energetic. I thought they would start to be winding down at about the half hour mark.
Right.
It's like when everybody says they're going to run like a half marathon, and they're all into it about 3 miles in, and then by mile 5 they're like, "This was not a good idea." I thought that would be the reaction by a lot of the fans here, but that hasn't been the case.
No, I mean, it's supposed to step off at noon. It may have stepped off a couple minutes late, but it's about 12:30. We're approaching 12:30, so we're close to 30 minutes into this. And it doesn't show any sign of winding down. A lot of people were wondering, how long does this go? Do they do the lap and then they dissipate? Do they do the lap and then it takes on the environment of a rally and kind of a rah-rah? There doesn't seem to be a stage.
No.
I had our people look around for any kind of a staging area or a gather. There doesn't seem to be that. No area where somebody would gather around, maybe grab a microphone, say some things. Maybe there'll be an impromptu one popped up. But once they finish that lap, we want to know, what are they going to do? They're going to hang around?
Well, I wondered if there was going to be candy thrown, which is kind of synonymous with American parades. I haven't seen any of that. You even saw some candy thrown at
what's a celebration without some bad Bit-O honey getting chucked into the air, right? We're going to do this. Let's do it right.
Throw some water up in the air, and then it freezes, and then knocks somebody unconscious. All right, a lot of people are loving the coffin. The coffin has gotten the most attention so far of all the parade vehicles. Also, the dumpster truck that went on through, that got a lot of reaction.
I'm surprised
as well.
they didn't. I know they couldn't set it on fire. That's probably a violation of a series of codes. But you could at least put fake flames on it. Maybe they, something like that. But that's all right. The dumpster's good. There's the fire hue sign you would expect. Streamers, or maybe it's just toilet paper. You kind of feel that might be more appropriate, being launched into the air.
By the way, people checking in from all over the country. We've had Los Angeles. We've had South Beach. People in South Beach are watching this streaming.
Why?
Maybe
you're in South Beach.
It might be a cold spell. I think it's dipping down to 60 degrees today. So it might be too cold for them. And then again, a lot of people debating whether or not this is embarrassing or whether this is classic. This is amazing. Never thought Cleveland could come together for
It is
such
toilet paper, Lima. We can confirm it's toilet paper.
Mixed reaction on how we're doing on play-by-play. Some people absolutely despise us.
Oh yes, we've already been savaged on the Facebook comments.
Yeah, tell us where you're commenting.
This sounds like a sports talk show host. Folks, it's an internet feed on a fake parade for a team that's won one game in 2 years. You're not getting Walter Cronkite in here, all right? You got me, Lima, and we got Victor, who's going to be a bomb pop by the end of this parade. But this is what you got.
Austin says Germany. Kenneth says St. Louis, Missouri in the house. South Dakota from Tony the Tugboat James. Parts unknown.
Well, he's on his way to being a professional wrestler. How many of those guys are from parts unknown?
Brooklyn, New York, Houston in the house, Utah, Portland. Again, around the country. And I'll tell you this, you will see, because we've gotten the CNN has chimed in. Fox News, MSNBC, they said they're all going to be showing this. So you knew that this was going to make a big enough impact, for better or for worse, that you're going to see this on local news around the country today and also national news around the country. Will it make the nightly news programs at 6:30? That's my question.
I got to think it will. It might be what we call in the business, we're going to talk a kicker.
A kicker, yeah.
That's a little lighthearted story out the door. You know what I'm saying? There's somebody using the dirt on the truck to paint 0-16, because sometimes Wash Me just doesn't get it done.
People starting to give a lot of credit for those that are using their ingenuity, like writing 0-16 just with your hands.
Why not? go Browns in the back. The silver truck can't do that. That's the secret of the light cars. You know, they don't show the salt, Lima. There's a little pro tip for you.
People never talk about this enough.
You get a silver vehicle, you get a white vehicle. You don't have people paint and wash paint. Doesn't happen. But you also can't put 0-16. Trade-offs. It's all about trade-offs when buying a car.
And you know, Philadelphia fans weighing in saying, thanks a lot, Browns, for Carson Wentz. Houston fans saying thanks for Deshaun Watson.
You know what? I want to talk about Wentz for a minute. Because, you know, we talked earlier about the folks that have stood by Sashi and said, you don't get the quarterback until you've got the rest of the team built. That's why they traded out of that. I could stomach. I think that would be easier to stomach had they got something other than trinkets and baubles for Wentz. That they didn't even get anything in that. The best guy they got might be Coleman or Jabril Peppers. Neither of those guys to this point has lit the world on fire. They didn't. If they had traded Wentz, but they went and got a stud pass rusher or something like that, no, you can at least say, yeah, they got that. They didn't do so bad. That is blown up in their face. And oh my word!
We have our
how do you spell hypothermia?
We have our first Speedo of the day.
Yes.
Somebody raided my closet and found it.
Well, you know, McNeil. One of the things he did was make sure first aid was on hand, and this fine gentleman might be paying a visit.
No, the problem is I think that is the first aid. I think he's the one who's supposed to be helping out everybody.
There's the orange van. We got a robot guy. Zippo, go for it.
And now a rave is broken out right outside of first inning.
Undefeated preseason champs. Cling to what you got, Cleveland. Cling to what you got.
I'm always wondering what other people, not that I care if anybody nationally is really making fun of Clevelanders for this, but I do wonder how people feel about something like this. LeBron, if you notice, stayed very tight-lipped about this. And normally LeBron is waiting on everything these days. He has not said anything because he knows these are all Cavs fans, too. These guys are all diehard Cavs fans. All these Browns fans marching in this place.
Yep.
I wonder what he feels. And another person who stayed quiet, who hasn't stayed quiet on anything lately, Joe Thomas.
Yeah, and he's been busy on social media. He and Andrew Hawkins actually just started a podcast, but he has not said much on social media about this at all. But, you know, Joe's a current player. Some people were wondering if he would show up to this because he's the good-hearted guy. But I don't even think Joe Thomas can do that. I don't think.
If you're associated with the Browns, really tough to involve yourself with something like this.
Got the "Here We Go Brownies" chant broken out. About 10 minutes ago, when Victor was on, see, I stepped aside to let him go, and then he stopped. When Victor was on, I heard the Bernie song from the '80s.
It's still a chart topper.
It really is. It never gets old. And, of course, one of the lines in there is Super Bowl, because back then that was the goal, and it is amazing that there is a whole generation of Browns fans that don't really know those teams, have just heard about those guys, and have never seen this team be any good.
Victor's taking a powder. He's got to warm up a bit.
So... Victor's got
more commentary. This from Spanish
Let
McGee.
Vic warm up.
This from Spanish McGee on Facebook. And again, soliciting comments. We want to hear, for good or for bad, we want to see the comments and see how people are reacting to this around the country in Northeast Ohio. He says these people are just a symptom of why the country perceives Cleveland the way they do. It's why you are losers. I got to tell you, I travel a lot, Mark. I know you traveled to the southwest portion of the country. I was in Los Angeles. Everybody I came across, I always wear my Cleveland gear. When I work out, when I go for a run, whenever I do those things, people have only good things to say about Cleveland. I think that is a worldview that is antiquated. I think when people talk about the river burning, that is like so 20 years ago. People that have been in Cleveland for the convention, UFC fights,
LeBron
NCAA
James
tournaments,
LeBron James alone.
NBA finals.
Yeah.
You're going to have the wrestling championships in this year. All the different huge events that Cleveland has housed. People have raved about the city of Cleveland. I don't think people look at Cleveland as a bunch of losers.
Somebody took John 3:16 and made it John Owen 16.
Come on, now that's good.
Oh boy. And the Facebook comments, as you said, of pouring in. We feel your pain in Detroit. Misery loves company. Bars are going to be packed today, Brian. That's exactly what I said.
See, helping the community, helping local business
Think of what this will do to the downtown economy.
An influx. We don't get playoff games here in Cleveland, ladies and gentlemen.
But
Our
when we do,
season's end in December, not January.
Ask Mike Holmgren for tickets. These are the tombstones you were talking about.
A good touch, right?
There's Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer.
Try to get us as many of these names as we can.
Let's talk about our memories for some of these. Brian Hoyer, a winning record in Cleveland. Who
Best quarterback they've had since they came back. I saw Colt McCoy, who's still in the league, good player.
The Tombstones. This is great. Is there Spurgeon?
Where's Alex Tanny?
Spurgeon win.
Spurgeon lose.
Trying to see some of these.
Spurgeon win, drafted ahead of Tom Brady.
Who was the quarterback that decided that he would rather spend the holidays with his in-laws a couple of years ago than join the Browns? Was it Rex Grossman?
Bring Manziel back. Yeah, I think that was Grossman. Decided no thanks.
Now look, smiles on everybody's faces. People having a good time with this. I don't think people are taking this all that seriously. I know there are people in their fights and their confrontations on social media who are like going after each other. Guys, look at the creativity. Look at the signs and what they say. Look at the coffin, the hearse, the tombstone, the dumpster. They're having fun with this. I don't think they're calling this the end of the world.
A Big Bird ripoff in either a Tim Couch or a Manziel jersey. Manziel it's Manziel. Does anyone still have a Couch jersey?
Tim? Yeah. Oh, heck yeah, they do.
How about this? Here we go. We talked about Hoyer as maybe the best quarterback they've had since they came back because of the 7-4 start, or one of them. But the two guys that actually had the most promise, they both were number 2. One was Couch, got hurt a lot. The other, I'd say Manziel. If he doesn't drink himself out of the league, when he was on the field, there were actually times he looked like he could play.
I will never forget people chanting Johnny, Johnny, Johnny after the win against San Francisco 49ers. I think it was one of the 2 wins he had. He had one against Tennessee, he had one against San Francisco. And people, I remember the bars that day because I joined on in it with them. People were loving life. But I don't know. I don't know if that guy would have ever mounted anything had he actually been, instead of the last person to show up and the first to leave, vice versa.
Right.
It's kind of how it's supposed to work in the NFL. The stuff they say about Carson Wentz and Deshaun Watson.
Right, yeah. Stuff they don't, for sure. We're still going here. We're about 40 minutes deep into this thing. Still got lots of cars. Still got lots of oversized load. What are they hauling back
I
there?
am stunned. Probably losses. I am stunned
plenty to tow.
that this thing is still going on. I thought they would have tapped out at about the 20-minute mark. The fact that there are even this many vehicles to go through this, and I unless it's one continuous loop, and then we'll be here all night, and we'd be happy to bring you that coverage.
That's the thing. Does the parade does it just keep going in a circle? And then this never ends. Yeah, go 16 times. Steve, our director, just said, circle the 0 16 times. We'd be on till like 6 o'clock tonight, but I guess we'll try. I want to get more shots of some of these signs if we can. I know our camera guys are already busy trying, and they got to stay out of the way too. I understand. You don't want to get run over.
So I want to know, Mark, as all this reaction is pouring in.
Let's push in here if we can't. Follow. I don't know. We drove 12 hours for history. Imagine coming in from out of town.
Yeah, especially.
And a lot of people did.
Especially like the East Coast has been besieged by inclement weather.
This is a little warm, I think, for them.
Yeah, at least the sun's out. At least the sun's out.
Yep. Saving grace there. And it's not one of these where you got snow pouring down.
So I guess my question to all Browns fans would be, if you were so worried, you're so terrified about the negativity that's going to be associated with this, that people are going to be talking about this like it is the burning river, okay, which, by the way, a great beverage locally is named after that now, so how bad could it be?
Oh, yeah, that's a good...
Are you going to care if the Browns in 5 years are playing for the Super Bowl and some fan goes, oh, yeah, you're in the Super Bowl, but what about your loser parade? Are you going to care? Cleveland fans, I mean, seriously, are you going to care what somebody out of town has to say?
For the most part, no. I saw one Facebook comment, this was a good one, he said, when the Browns win the Super Bowl, this will be in the 30 for 30. And there's somebody got their license plate. Now, I don't know what decade that's going to be.
Probably someone who was working on license plates.
0 wins. And that'll they could hold on to that plate for a while, because not that they're going to go 0-16 next year, although I guess they shouldn't challenge them.
I'm a little disturbed that we're giving this much coverage to the guy in the Speedo, by the way. I think it might be time to move on from Speedo guy.
You're just disappointed that your underwear is on display here for everyone, and you got into your things.
Guy from Kansas City, love it. Might as well make it a party. Imagine when the team has some success. Might have to make a trip. I love the vibe right now in Cleveland.
That's from a Chiefs fan who lost John Dorsey.
A lot of Steeler fans chiming in, too, and I wondered if, they would care at all.
The Steeler fans I know, this thing is so far gone from a rivalry, it's just pity. Like, you don't even talk trash anymore. What's the point?
Well, they're rivals now, and I've said this
repeatedly
on the air, the Ravens and the Bengals.
The Ravens are the Bengals.
Those are their rivals. I want to get to a point where we can be a rival again.
All right, let's look. This is the first shot of a part of the crowd starting to disperse. history will show that at 12:42, the 11-16 parade at least started to disperse, but who knows how long the rest of this will go on for. I wonder, they got a permit for this, so, they're doing everything right.
Yeah,
legally,
by the books.
Stupid parade.
They made sure to
Cleveland,
dot the I's, cross the T's. Hector on Facebook says there's something to be said for loyalty between Cleveland and its team, unlike some of these owners of these other teams, like the Raiders and the Chargers. Look, it's a good point. Fans, they fought for their team. They made sure that this team would come back as soon as possible. It probably hurt us in the end that the team came back so fast and the stadium got built as fast as it did. But they're not wavering.
All right, we mentioned some of the fans starting to break away. We're going to go back outside. Victor Williams of our news team is there with some of the folks who are holding up a sign. Victor, take it away.
Yeah, guys, well, I had to step to the car and warm up my feet for a little bit, standing out here for a long time. Feels like I may have frostbite in a few of my toes, but I think that these guys are not going anywhere, even though the crowd has started to die down a little bit. These guys are still out here having fun. Now, as you guys can also see right over here, we got this license plate, a Cleveland license plate that says 0 wins. So, obviously, these guys are a little happy about it. But I do see a few ladies over here who have these bags over their faces that do say 016. Why the bags over the faces?
We don't want to show our faces. We are not proud of this season. Maybe next year, though.
Maybe next year. All right, well, as you guys can see here, it is starting to die down, but like we said before, the spirit's not going to die down at all for these guys here. So, for the boys.
Cavs are taking the ship this year, baby. Let's go.
All right, we're going to go ahead and step away a little bit now. Looks like a little too excited here, but yeah, like we said, guys, the street is starting to clear up now, but it does seem like they're going to be going out to have some more fun after this. For now, we're live in front of First Energy Stadium. Victor Williams, Cleveland 19 News.
All right, Victor, and hey, you may be losing feeling in some of those toes, but the good Lord gave you 10 of them, so, you got a few left over. We can get through. Take care, buddy.
Absolutely.
We'll check back in a little bit. What's this one say? Hugh, head north only.
Yeah, they're close. Remember, he said he was going to jump in the lake. He said he was going to jump in the lake. Today, I don't think would have been the day to actually
might
do that.
win in the CFL. Head north of the 80 kilometers. That's also where he was going.
Send that to Johnny Manziel.
What is that mascot, by the way? What is that guy?
Is it Maple Leaf? Is it not? Some sort of a...
I don't know. Oh, that's a Maple Leaf. Okay, that's why I was holding up the CFL. Scott, you gave me some direction there. What did you say? All right.